Talia is a district on the west coast of Eyre Peninsula in South Australia. The coast is a mixture of sandy beaches and towering rocky cliffs washed by the Southern Ocean. Caves and fissures have been carved into the cliffs by the action of the waves over the years. Doris Bell Millard was born at Broadford in Victoria in 1895 and trained to be a nurse at Broken Hill, passing her examination in 1922. Doris worked as a nursing sister at the Streaky Bay Hospital from November 1927 until June 1928, where she was a popular figure. She was spending her last few days enjoying a holiday, staying with Mr. and Mrs. J.H. Hastings. Then she planned to go to Victoria, where her mother lived in Prahran. On Saturday the 23rd of June, a group of 5 people set out to drive from Streaky Bay to Talia. They were Mr. and Mrs. Hastings, Mr. and Mrs. W.H. Brownrigg, and Nurse Millard. The quintet arrived at Talia that afternoon and camped overnight under the stars. Sunday morning arrived bright and sunny. Rita Brownrigg and Nurse Millard were up early and went for a walk. The Brownriggs had married in Sydney earlier in 1928 and were new to the area. After breakfast, Doris suggested they go to the edge of the rugged cliffs at Anxious Bay and take photographs. The sea was particularly turbulent that morning, and the spot had long had a reputation for being dangerous. William Brownrigg, who was 37 and worked as an agricultural advisor, walked along a narrow ledge overhanging a deep fissure where the waves roared 30 feet below them. He turned and counselled Doris that she should not attempt to follow him, possibly regretting his own recklessness. Doris staunchly replied, "If you can go there, I can," and began to walk on the ledge. Brownrigg turned away and took a couple of more steps. While his gaze was averted, Nurse Millard either slipped or part of the ledge crumbled. Hearing a noise, he turned back and discovered the nurse had fallen and was struggling in the water below. Doris was a strong swimmer, but the odds were against her. Risking his own life, Brownrigg began climbing down the cliff to attempt to rescue. Like a cork, she was washed forwards and back by the tide, sometimes coming within feet of Brownrigg's outstretched arm, only to be dragged away again as she tried valiantly to reach help. It was estimated that waves were rising up to 20 feet high. For 15 minutes she was thrown about as Brownrigg could only watch in futility, before inevitably she slipped below the water and drowned. Horrified, he saw her limp body being taken out to sea by the current and clambered back up to the cliff top. Police at Elliston were informed, and Constable Emery had himself lowered on a rope down into the fissure to see if the body had been washed into one of the sea caves, but in vain. Though the local beaches were watched in the coming days, Nurse Millard's body was never recovered. A public subscription was raised to erect a monument to Nurse Millard on the cliffs at Talia, which would also serve as a warning of the peril of those same cliffs. The money was easily raised and the cenotaph put in place on the 25th of November 1928. Rumours which circulated after her death that Doris was pregnant by a doctor at the hospital and had committed suicide were never proven to be anything other than extremely malicious gossip. In September 1929, William Brownrigg was presented with a bronze medal by the Humane Society for his attempt to rescue the nurse. He passed away in 1964. Constable Emery received a letter of commendation for his bravery in 1930. Does the memory of the tragedy linger on in the spirit world? A Mr. Baldwin of Elliston took a photo of the sea caves in the 1960s. When it was developed, the photo seemed to show the figure of a woman standing amid the surging water. A trick of the light, or the ghost of Doris Bell Millard?